little fox.
Thumbelina, Chapter 10. Getting Ready for a Wedding. Mr. Rufus spoke quietly with Mrs. Gray and then left. "My plan is working perfectly," Mrs. Gray said, her nose wiggling happily.
"What plan?"
asked Thumbelina. "Mr. Rufus has agreed to marry you," said Mrs. Gray. Thumbelina was shocked.
"But I don't want to marry him,"
she said. "Don't be silly," frowned Mrs. Gray. "Mr. Rufus is rich and kind. You are lucky he wants to marry you."
"But Mrs. Gray,"
began Thumbelina. "Not another word," the mouse said sharply. "There is so much to do." One morning, Mrs. Gray brought in a big basket of corn husks. "Mr. Rufus wants you to weave some mats," said Mrs. Gray. "He has furry feet, but you do not. And his floors are cold." Thumbelina stared at her bare feet. She had lost her shoes in the forest somewhere. The next day, Mrs. Gray brought in dried hay. "You need to make some brooms," said Mrs. Gray. "Mr. Rufus's home has many rooms. They all need sweeping."
"I don't care,"
Thumbelina almost shouted.
"He lives underground. I'll never see the sunshine again."
"Well then, you'll need some light," Mrs. Gray said, ignoring Thumbelina. She went to the closet. "Here's a lantern," she said. "It will be dark in your new home, but you will get used to it."
"Why can't I stay with you?"
Thumbelina asked. Mrs. Gray said sternly, "Plans have been made. It's too late to change them now."
"But I won't be happy,"
Thumbelina said sadly. Suddenly, she heard a light tapping at the back door. Thumbelina opened the door.
"Wonder Web Weavers, at your service,"
said 3 black spiders. They all wore gray shirts with a W on the front. Each W was a different color.
Mr. Rufus hired us to make your wedding dress,"
said the spider with the gold W.
"How kind of Mr. Rufus,"
Mrs. Gray clapped her hands. The spiders measured and spun almost at the same time.
"We won't need much lace,"
said the spider with the red W.
"She has a tiny waist."
"She is a bit thin,"
agreed the spider with the green W. The wedding dress seemed to appear before Thumbelina. As she watched the spiders, tears came into her eyes.
"I need some fresh air,"
she said quickly.
"Thumbelina!"
Mrs. Gray said sternly. But Thumbelina ran outside. It was cold but sunny.
"I'm tired of everybody telling me what to do,"
she shouted into the air.
"I don't want to get married. I don't want to live underground."
But nobody heard Thumbelina.